Hi, welcome to the Brief Book Reviews channel, otherwise known as An Old Guy Reviews the Book that he's read this week. So what's the old guy read this week? Well, the book I read this week is this one. It's called The Missing Family by author Tim Weaver. It was published as a hardback here in the UK on the 4th of July 2024 by Michael Joseph, and it's another adventure for David Raker, Missing Persons adventure. I suppose I should preface this review by saying I'm a bit of a Raker fanboy. Tim Weaver's written 15 books. One was a standalone called Missing Pieces, Rebecca Murphy. The other one, Stranger at the Door, was a collection of 4 short stories. So this, in effect, is the 13th straightforward David Raker story. I've read all the previous ones and really enjoyed them. So I was looking forward to the release of this book. So less of the waffle, Cliff. What's this all about? Well, the story kicks off with Raker doing what Raker does. He's contacted by a lady called Sarah Fowler, and she tells him that 8 months previously her family were at a small lake that they know, a lake in an old gravel pit in Dartmoor, where they like to spend a summer's day, and they've got a small boat where they sail on the lake. And she tells him the tale that 8 months ago, getting near the end of the day, she's sat on the side of the lake with her younger daughter Mabel, who's only 2. Her husband Mark, their teenage son Kyle, and Kyle's girlfriend Clara are out on the lake. Now, it's been a long day. Sarah's feeling a bit tired. Mabel's been a bit grizzly. She nods off. She looks at her watch and wakes up again and realises she's only been falling asleep for a minute. Looks out in the lake. There's the boat. No sign of Mark, Kyle, or Clara. They've disappeared. How can this be? So she tells Raker that this was 8 months ago. The police have investigated. They're still treating it as a missing persons inquiry, but she's at her wit's end. Obviously she's lost the income from Mark's employment. He was he worked on guidance systems for a firm dealing with the military, so he was a well-paid engineer. She's an author, but not particularly well paid, and needs to find out what's happened. Raker, being Raker, feels empathy for her, feels sorry for her, and takes on the case. So Raker does what he always does. He contacts Ewan Tasker, his mate, who manages to get hold of the official police report on missing persons, and starts tracking down the lead, starts asking questions about people where he worked, where Mark worked, about the family in general, and just trying to get a background to get some sort of score on what's going on. As he's doing this, he gets a call, and it's from somebody from his past. It's a lady called Melanie Craw. Now, Melanie, he had both a professional and a personal relationship with Melanie. She was a copper. Last he knew, 7 years ago, she went back up to Scotland on a promotion, and he hasn't heard from her since. So he's a little taken aback to get a call from Melanie. Melanie explains that she's left the police force. She's now head of security for a company that runs a vast casino and resort on the outskirts of London. It's called the Skyline. It's owned by the Zinter brothers, who have got similar massive resorts in Macau and Vegas. And she tells them a tale that a year ago, one of their friends, one of the Zinter brothers' friends, and a high roller and an investor in the Skyline, was brutally murdered. They've managed to identify who the perp was, and they call him the whaler, and somebody who'd been to the casino before. They take him down to the cells, the casino security take him down to the cells, call the police, and next thing they know, the guy's vanished. So she's asking Raker to investigate. Now Raker's saying, well, look, I've got a case with the Fowlers, a missing persons case, I can't do both. And he ums and ahs for a bit, and then he hits upon the idea of contacting his ally, Colm Healey. Colm Healey's a Raker regular. Colm Healey's kicking his heels a bit. He's out of jail. He's trying to rebuild his relationship with his sons, Liam and Kieran, and Liam's new girlfriend, Alice, because they thought he was dead. They went to his funeral because he'd faked his own death. So he's working as a security guard, a bit bored, and Raker says, look, I can't do both cases. Can you take on this case? Now, clearly, he's a little bit worried because Healey at times can let the red mist come down and get somewhat excitable. And also the fact that Melanie Craw was the person that sacked him from the Metropolitan Police Service. So he said, look, can you take this case on? Can you be objective? And Healey says, well, yes, of course, yeah, it's what I do. I'll do it. I'll ignore or crawl. And you get this feeling that Raker's thinking, Willie, this could be a bit dodgy. But at any rate, 2 cases carry on. So lots of investigations, and like other, books and stories we've had before, these 2 occurrences seemingly totally disconnected. Once Raker and Healey start investigating, they find out there is a link between them. And not only that, there's a link between these 2 events and events that have happened on a different continent years ago. And there are lots of secrets that are about to be revealed. So we get the usual intrigue, mystery, we get people being deceitful, and we get Raker and Healey, as they get nearer to the truth, putting themselves in danger. So it's another cracking yarn. It's 484 pages, so it's a chunky old read, but I didn't want to put it down. I really, really enjoyed it. So it's another Raker missing persons mystery, full of intrigue, as I said, full of mystery, full of lots of people not who they say they are, a little twist at the end that you probably won't guess. So really enjoyed it. It also, the author is very clever. He deals with the fact that you feel empathy for Raker, because Raker really wants to help these people. He's suffered loss himself and he feels for them. And you see, you look at the relationship between Raker and Healey. Healey can often go off on one. The red mist descends. And when he does that, Raker has to decide whether to just keep quiet or change the subject. So you see that relationship between the 2 guys, and the fact that Raker, it's not always 100% that Healey's going to be on the case, despite the fact he's a really good detective. You also look at, as I said, Healey's relationship with his family, because he was dead. And we also get Raker pondering about how certain threads, certain people can connect. And we get a passing mention of Rebecca Murphy that was in Missing Pieces. So all in all, another cracking yarn. I thoroughly recommend it. I really enjoyed it. It's another great David Raker missing persons story. I'd give it 8 out of 10. And that's being, probably, as a Raker fanboy, I'd probably make it 9 out of 10 normally. But let's go with 8 out of 10. Really good read. Available in all good bookshops. So, as I said, thoroughly recommend it. So that's it for this week's brief book review. 10/10 to do it again. Thanks for watching.